I'd love to know what you guys thought of what Brock Purdy did last night. His numbers weren't great. They put up 31 points. I don't know if his numbers matter. He kind of had a little lull in the second half. He let the Seahawks back in the game. He put him away with a great throw to Brandon Ayuk that you would call clutch. It was in the fourth quarter. What do you guys think? Give me an honest assessment of what Brock Purdy did last night.
I think he played a solid game. He kept us in front of the sticks at times. Now, yeah, there was a lull in production, but I feel like that was the defense. I mean, I feel like that was the offense as a whole, not just Brock. He was starting to push. One of the things that I noticed about Brock with his picks are a lot of times Brock, he gets in trouble with turning the ball over when he's almost trying to kind of push the defense, trying to push the offense beyond what the play that's called, like trying to almost do a little bit of improv, pushing more. If you think about it, if you look at it, the pick that he threw a similar throw right before that. The very first, the play right before he threw the pick. So I saw it coming.
He was high. It was high. Yeah,
and
to the left.
Remember that? Yes, you can see that he was pushing. Now, notwithstanding, the same way we talk about these guys not playing a full game and then letting off the gas, we got to give them praise when they start off good, they have a dip in production in the middle, and then they end off. I look at this as like a boxing match. Like, yeah, Brock may have been getting beat up and maybe getting outboxed, but at the end of the day, if you get to round 12 and you clip his ass and he's down, fight's over. Nobody goes back and looks at those other rounds, right?
And that was a knockout blow to Ayuk for sure. Yeah,
that
was a great throw.
That's a ballsy throw, right? And for you to still have the confidence to layer that ball in there after the type of throw that you made before, where you can kind of go into a shell making a pick like that. But he did it.
I mean, it was the first good throw he made in the second half, man. And it seemed like Kyle kind of went in the shell after his interception. He called nothing but runs for a while. So yeah,
he did.
I agree.
He did. So for me, I feel like that was not only a referendum on Brock's play, but also a referendum on Kyle, where if you know, Brock wasn't even supposed to make that throw. He pushed that throw to Brandon Ayuk. The throw was actually designed for Brock to have his primary routes in the flats, and he saw something and pushed the ball down the field. So for me, I'd say I'd give him a B-. Nothing to write home about, nothing crazy, but he did what quarterbacks do. He ended the game and made his biggest throw was his best throw.
It's hard to get more than a B- when you throw a pick six and you have one touchdown pass. But what do you think, Larry? What did you? He finished strong.
I mean, I personally, I thought he played really well. I mean, to me, this game was mostly over at the half. At halftime, I mean, it was 24-3 at half, and he had completed 75% of his passes. He had hit 7 different receivers, and he hadn't turned the ball over, and he didn't get awesome protection. I'll tell you what I love. I love the roll right throwback. To me, when he rolls right and throws back, it's like that thing's open all the time. And so I love that play. I thought he moved. I liked his explosive movement, and I think, within the pocket. And I like the fact that this guy looks like, since the bye week, he's added some juice to the arm. Now, the third quarter, he had back-to-back nightmarish throws. The second one tipped, obviously went right to the defender, pick 6. So that's obviously a hugely negative play. But a lot of the people who say that the guy can't get it done in the fourth almost make it seem like he doesn't have the nerve to get it done in the fourth. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think that's the case. And the way the dot that he put on Ayuk in a zone against 4 defenders was just so perfectly placed that was a great finishing act. So I don't know, grade wise, I'd probably give him, we've seen him complete 95% of his passes in some games. We've seen him be really good. I would say this game was just a solid B. But when you factor in on the road in Seattle, and Seattle, I thought, brought some tremendous momentum in that third quarter. I'll say this. I was listening a little bit to the radio broadcast of it. The announcers, Greg Papa and Tim Ryan, were like, these guys were shook. I mean, these guys were like, this game is flipped. And when the Ohio State rookie made the one-handed catch, he's like, Seattle's right back in this game. And they were still down 14 points at the time. So there was a feeling in that third quarter like the momentum shifted. And Purdy's play to Ayuk was huge in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it shifted because he threw a pick 6 when they were up 21.
Yeah.
Backed
but
up. I'm
they
sorry.
The game wasn't really ever in doubt. If you heard the announcers on the radio side, they made it seem
because
like
Geno Smith plays for the Seahawks.
Geno Smith made the game not in doubt.
Yeah,
give it a stack.
Purdy did his part to make it interesting. But Geno Smith just turtled up and took a bunch of sacks. Like, I don't know. I was a little concerned about what Brock Purdy did. He's still really good, but I don't know. It seems to me, first of all, when he's backed up and he's stuck in the pocket, the reason the ball comes out a little high is he's a little short. It's hard for him to get the ball up and over unless he can move around and negotiate and navigate, get outside the pocket. That's one. And then 2, the throw to Ayuk. Yeah, it was clutch. He was up 11 in the fourth quarter. It almost feels like when you give a kid a basketball and then you lift him up and then he dunks and then everyone claps. I'm sorry. He was up 11 in the fourth quarter. Like, yeah, dope. Dude, that's a nice throw. It was cool.
It's cold.
Like, what do you want me to say? Like, it was clutch. You put him away. I don't know. B minus, I think it's fair. Good game. But I don't know. The third quarter. Look, I want to come back to something that Coach said at the beginning, and then we'll move on. It felt like it was the whole offense, not just Brock. It felt like, to Larry's point, they went into halftime and were like, well, we got it. Game's over. This really isn't in doubt. Like, well, the defense didn't come out with that attitude in the second half, but the offense did. And not just Brock. Everyone on the offense, including Kyle Shanahan. Like, they just put the offense in the garage. It was done. Like, no. Even Geno Smith can lead a couple drives.
We're led by this defense, though, man. Like, when we were losing games, we were trotting out the DC to
Steve.
Yeah, like when we were struggling. When we were struggling, nobody was like, I wonder what Spencer Burford has to say. Bring Jawan Jennings into the mic. Like, nobody, no, let's hear what Ray McLeod thinks about this dip in performance. When we were losing, everybody was like, what does Steve Wilkes have to say? What does Fred Warner have to say? What does Nick Bosa have to say? Like,
that's true.
We are led by this defense. Everybody knows it, even so much so as the head coach, he doesn't even own it. He's like, Steve knows he messed up on that. He'll talk to you about it. Like Steve knows. Like, coming down. Like everybody's talking about changing up coaches. Steve down from the booth, get on the sideline. Steve Wilkes has turned into like Coach Carter out of nowhere for some reason. Like all of a sudden, it's we and then when we win, what do? We
praise the offense.
We hand the win to the offense.
Praise the offense.
We hand it to the offense, right?
No one's talked about Steve Wilkes in weeks.
Nobody.
No one.
And then, like, we give the offense all of these short fields. They dilly-dally around with leads. It's like the offense had a different production, but not the defense. If the defense goes from 1-1-1-1-1 to 2, then we have a huge problem.
Steve, get out of here.
Huge problem.
All right. Let's.
The facts are this: our defense is playing at an elite level, and they're still not as good as they were last year.
23 points in the last 3 games. 23.
That's why we're winning, because our defense is handing the ball back to our offense, and the offense is faking like they're getting an A on a group project. That's what's happening.